The relationship between a pet and its owner is both beautiful and dynamic. A healthy bond between a pet and owner built on mutual trust and love secures the well-being of both. But it so happens that at times this relationship is torn to pieces. Pets become hostile towards their very owners. In this video, we're going to show you why we should be careful to our pets. Weinhold and his bull. This man had a barn space for his domesticated farm animals in Philadelphia. Ricky was apparently in love with his cattle. He was spending more time with them than usual as a calf was about to be born. The amazing fact is that a day before his 53rd birthday, Ricky was attacked by his 1-ton bull. His injuries were so severe that he died within a few hours. What a sad incident. Sandra Payabasan and her wolf dogs. Sandra had raised a pack of 9 wolf dogs. She was extremely devoted to them and claimed that they gave her unconditional love. One day, Sandra failed to show up for a meeting with her daughter. Her husband went to look for her, only to find her body was inside the cage of her wolf dogs. The body was brutally ripped and partially eaten. Sandra had bled to passing after being attacked by her dogs. Her once faithful pets had dragged her body into their enclosure before feeding upon it. Pam Weaver and her pet camel. Pam was given a pet camel by her husband on her 60th birthday. The family wanted to give her a llama or alpaca, but they were too expensive. The interesting fact is that the 10-month-old animal, weighing around 150 kilograms, had a history of erratic behavior. It knocked the lady to the ground and apparently tried to mating with her. He lay on top of Pam, straddling her. Pam soon ran out of oxygen and died from suffocation. Veal and her feline friends. If dogs can feast on their owners, why not cats? When the neighbors did not see the woman named Janet for weeks, they informed the authorities of her disappearance. When the police arrived at Janet's house, a disturbing scene awaited them. Also, the police found Janet's cats dining on the corpse. The most amazing pet can become your Terminator at any time. Hopefully, you won't be on one of our lists of scary true stories. If you handle your pets wisely, you can be in the bright side part. The monster of the Nile. Ronald Huff, aged 42, and his face, hands, and stomach organs devoured by 7 6-foot-long Nile monster lizards. Ronald let the reptiles roam free in his flat. The huge flesh-eating venomous reptiles endemic to Africa were found by cops. They were covered in their owner's blood and were hissing aggressively at their officers. To date, Ronald's passing, which occurred in 2002, remains one of the most terrifying and bizarre instances of a human being eaten by their pet. Marius and his pet hippo. Keeping a hippopotamus as a pet is a bad idea. The huge, scary-looking creature is responsible for causing the largest number of human passings in Africa. So it was strange when his South African farmer, Marius Hells, started raising a hippo as a pet at his farm. Marius was warned about the hostile nature of hippos by friends and family. However, he got so attached to the hippo that he started calling the animal a son. A few years later, Marius's mangled body was found floating in the river. It was badly ripped and partially eaten by the pet hippo. Child and family ferret. People love the idea of keeping ferrets as pets. While they find them agile and cute, what they do not realize is that ferrets have a sharp pair of piranha-like teeth and taste for human flesh. When a Missouri family was awakened by the cries of their baby, they thought the baby needed milk. What they found, however, was the blood-soaked body of their baby, with 7 of his fingers missing. The child was rushed to the hospital for recovery. That is not all. Another couple entered their room to find out that their newborn baby was eaten alive by their 3 pet ferrets. Mark Vogel and his spider. This 30-year-old man from Germany was found deceased in his apartment after his army of exotic pets escaped from their cages. Mark's corpse was found draped in spider webs. Also, more than 200 spiders, several snakes, thousands of termites, and a gecko were found feasting on the corpse. Authorities believe that the body had been there for 7 to 14 days. They also believe that Mark's black widow, named Bettina, may have orchestrated the whole human flesh-eating event by terminating Mark with its lethal bite. Susan and pit bulldog. In August 2016, a 60-year-old woman by the name of Susan Shaw was viciously mauled by her two pit bulls at her home in Conifer, Colorado. Her adult son, Richard, tried to defend his mother and also got injured. 911 had to be called for help. When rescuers arrived, the dogs were no longer aggressive, but the elderly woman was already drawing her final breaths. When love goes wrong, that's a real creepypasta. Red deer and Gerald Rushton. Gerald Rushton had been raising a European red stag in his home since it was a little fawn. The stag, along with other exotic animals, were kept in Gerald's property located in Harrison County, Texas. Wildlife officials advised Gerald to get rid of the stag. Gerald ignored their warnings. In November 2010, Gerald entered the stag's pen to feed it. The 550-pound animal suddenly charged at Gerald, pinned him to the fence, and tore his body to bits. Terry and domestic hog. In September 2012, Terry Vance Gardner, an elderly farmer, went to feed his herd of dogs in his Oregon ranch. The man never returned. When family members went looking for him, they were shocked to find bits and pieces of his body scattered throughout the hog enclosure. What we're telling you is not a story or a myth. This incident actually happened. You must have heard about it at Watch Mojo. Waltz's black bear. Michael Waltz was a dealer of exotic pets who were keeping wild animals in his home without a valid permit. His wide pet collection included a lion, jaguar, tiger, and black bear. Michael looked after his pets with his wife Kelly. In October 2009, Kelly entered the black bear's steel cage. She distracted the 350-pound creature with some food while Waltz started cleaning the other end. The 350-pound bear suddenly turned on Waltz and attacked. Waltz was deceased in just a few minutes. Bronx's brother's Burmese python. In 1996, two Bronx teenage brothers named Grant and Lamar Williams bought a Burmese python for $300. The twins wanted to make a career in herpetology, the study and care of reptiles. They kept the snake caged in their bedroom. One day, the 19-year-old Grant prepared to feed live chicken to the 44-pound snake. As he let the snake out, the reptile quickly wrapped itself around the young man's body and terminated him. Norman and Siberian tiger. As chairman of the Canadian Exotic Animal Owners Association, Norman Dubalwada was a big advocate of keeping wild animals as pets. The man had 5 wild cats he kept on his property in Ontario, including a tiger, lion, and a cougar. In June 2004, a 10-year-old boy came to his property to take photos of the exotic creatures, only to get mauled by the Siberian tiger held there. The 350-pound cat was on a leash held by Norman. However, it managed to leap forward and attack the boy. Pennsylvanian Terminator Cat. In 2010, dozens of cats had to be removed from a southwestern Pennsylvania home. According to police reports, the cats had started gnawing at the foot of a 74-year-old deceased man and his deceased mother, who was 94. The man had apparently been the sole caretaker of his mother. He died from a sudden heart attack. After his passing, his invalid mother died of dehydration. Left with no source of food besides their owners' corpses, the cats' survival instincts took over. Ravenous Pugs. These dogs are so ugly that they almost seem cute, but don't feel too much pity for the world's most popular house pet, because when things get tough, they will do anything to survive. Anyone out there who owns a pug knows that there are a few things that these will not eat. Human flesh is not one of the exceptions. These two pugs, Harry and Sally, spent 2 weeks in a Papillion, New England home. They were brought to this animal home after they ate the remains of their 51-year-old deceased owner. The owner had apparently died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The two tiny dogs are now up for adoption. African lion. Al Abel and his wife Kathy had established an exotic animal farm in southern Illinois. The private zoo was something the couple had dreamed about for years. They were finally able to establish a small zoo after retirement. Their dream, however, was never really fulfilled. In February of 2004, Al was tidying the animal pens on his own. His wife had gone out to run errands. The 52-year-old man entered the pen of Simba, a 5-year-old African Barbary lion. The The lion pounced upon his owner and brutally terminated him. The Duxbury tragedy. The deceased body of Cynthia Lee, age 52, was found in an area besides a cage housing a 500-pound tiger in Pine County. The local sheriff reported that the body was found by a man who had gone to work on the property where the cage was located. After the unfortunate incident, the tiger was euthanized and taken to the University of Minnesota Veterinary Hospital for observation and testing. 2 other Bengal tigers on the property were also being cared for by Cynthia. Indeed, a really tragic Reddit story. Charla Nash and pet chimpanzee. Technically, Charla wasn't the owner of Travis the chimpanzee, but she was a friend of the owner. Unfortunately, in 2009, Charla was violently attacked and mauled by Travis. If timely help had not been provided, Charla would have died from the attack. What if you were in a similar situation? Indeed, this is a rare Reddit story which teaches know your pet well before it gets too late. The Terminator Python. This unfortunate incident took place in July 2009. Florida Python owners Jaron Hare, 21, Charles Darnell, 34, were convicted of third-degree termination, manslaughter, and child neglect. The couple had a pet snake in their house. One day, their daughter, Cheyenne, was found deceased in her cot with her albino Burmese python, Gypsy, coiled tightly around her. Its fangs were embedded in the little girl's forehead. The couple was sentenced to 12 years in prison. The pet snake had apparently been hungry, hence it had escaped from its cage and strangled the 2-year-old girl. A rare case that should be included in school curriculum to educate children and parents on how to own pets. So which one of these is the most brutal Terminator? Do you think we should be more careful around our pets? Share your thoughts in the comments. Like always, if you enjoyed it, be sure to give us a big thumbs up and leave us some love in the comments section. To keep up to date with all our awesome videos, be sure to hit subscribe and turn your notifications on so you never miss a thing. Until next time, do take care of yourself.